And are we live? I believe we're live. Hello, everyone. It has been quite some time since we've done a live stream on the channel. I am extremely happy to be here with two of the most lovely people in the realm. I would like to introduce my special guest this evening for the Happy Holidays Hype Shenanigans stream tonight. We have a couple of missing people. We're going to address that in just a moment, but I would like to do lady first of the stream. Gina, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. What have you been up to? Tell everyone you run After Con of Thrones.
Sometimes I try. Yeah.
Sometimes you're part of that group.
Yes.
So for people that aren't familiar or people that are, Gina is one of the awesome community members. I'm sure some of you know her in the chat. So welcome Gina to the stream, one of our geeks this evening. And then speaking of geeks, we have the in deep geek. It's been a while since I've said that. Robert, are you going to start by taking off the glasses and addressing everyone, or are we going to start the count at one?
And we have one.
So I just want to start by drawing attention to Kyle's glasses today. So I'm going to be keeping a careful count of the amount of times that Kyle takes his glasses off. That's the one. He needs a little bit more of a swish, I think. But apart from that, he's doing great. Lovely to be here, guys. Fantastic to see so many beautiful people in the chat. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so glasses, they help protect my eyes. I kind of have an issue with my left one, just from the blue light. Editing all the time, that's why I have them. People say I look like I'm baking cookies or something because of my shirt and the glasses. I appreciate that. I do love cookies. But before we start out, you'll notice that a couple of our crew members are missing. Usually we have Gemma, Helen, and JR. JR is doing some work, so he's not going to be able to be here. Helen also just got back from work and is dealing with something back home. And Gemma, she has a message for everyone. I would like to read it. So specifically just for everyone. She would like to say, I would like to tell everyone that I'm sorry I couldn't make it, that I have a lot of challenging stuff going on in my personal life that is pulling me away from the community. But I miss everyone, and I thank them for their support and wish them all a great new year. So Gemma's currently dealing with some stuff. We're supporting her. We love Gemma. I know everybody in the chat who knows her does, but she couldn't be here this evening, and she's currently just dealing with some stuff back home there. So we love you, Gemma. We're sorry you couldn't be here, but the three of us are going to continue this evening. We're going to have a fun little Christmas stream. We're going to go for about an hour. Cheers, everyone in chat. I'm currently having a Jack Daniels. It's called an Apple Jack. It's got some ginger ale and apple Jack Daniels. Robert, you're having
A rather cheeky Malbec today.
Nice. And Gina, you're having some red wine as well? Nice. Okay, so Gina's just drinking.
No answer, just drink it. That's the way forward.
So we did have a donation, I believe. I think it was from Maura Lee.
It was just before you went live.
Yeah, so Maura Lee, of course, she could be here this evening either. She says $50 US donation. Thank you so much, Maura. Very, very generous of you. She says, Kyle, here is wishing you, your fabulous guests, and everyone in the chat happy holidays and a happy and healthy new year. I would like to do the same for everyone in chat, whether whatever religion you're a part of, whatever community, whatever you celebrate. We hope you're having a happy holidays and you're happy and safe and awesome. So today's stream, there's no real subject, but I figured that we could take questions from the chat. I know some of you have mentioned Rise of Skywalker. All three of us on the panel are going to see it at different times. I'm going to see it tomorrow. Robert, you're going to see it Friday. And Gina, you thought you had tickets, but you're getting them for another day. So Rise of Skywalker is certainly a topic that we could talk about, chat. I know Robert's going to be making some Westworld videos, and I will as well. So that's something that we could talk about. Witcher comes out on Friday, and I know a lot of you have enjoyed the Witcher videos I've done on the channel, Mandalorian, House of the Dragon. So anybody has questions in chat, if it's not content questions, just general life questions, nothing too crazy, please. But yeah, just nothing personal, nothing super personal. But yeah, ask questions, and we're here to hang out with you. I feel like it's been a while, at least for me. I know Robert does his awesome live streams on Thursdays, but I haven't done one for a while, and I figured we could all just hang out and kind of just have some fun. Expanse, yeah, I just finished season 4 of The Expanse as well. So let's, Robert, since you have such an eloquent voice, would you like to Yeah, I know. Would you like to shout out some people in chat? I see Megan V in there, who's the one who said I look like I baked cookies earlier.
Well, I'm happy to do. Hello, Megan V. Lovely to see you. Rick Hoppy, whose name I now pronounce hopefully correctly. Phil H is there. Nicola Duracan. Who else is there? Misty 306. Single Mum Life, like Thug Life, but realer. Great name. Amanda Lynn, hi Mandy. Danny McKay, Anime Lover Nicole is here. Aaron Irinate, Robbie Meeson, Tim F. So many wonderful people around. Chrissy of Old Stones, Queen of Moderators, Forrest Blurter, Karen Richmond. So many wonderful people here. There was it looks like a super sticker you've got there, Carl. If you want to pick up on that one.
That's the first time I've got a super sticker. That's really cool. Is that like a new feature that they just added recently, Robert?
Yeah, in the last few months. It's like a super chat, but more stickery.
Well, very, very cool. I believe that is pounds or some sort of European money. So $1,000 Canadian, which is roughly what, €5. It says, "How's it going? What's going on, Anime Lover?" Thank you for that. And we got another donate, David Benioff. This is great. Kyle, get your shit together. We're automatically getting demonetized now, and start some warm up to forthcoming House of Dragons. We have loads of stuff we can go off. Step Up Brother Love Whales. Well, I'm happy to tell you, Mr. David Benioff, in the new year, I will actually be doing some chapter breakdowns for Fire and Blood with Amy Collins Russell, a community member. She's going to be co-scripting some videos with me. So, yeah, kind of in leading up to House of Dragon, we're going to talk a little bit about. I'm not going to go in order necessarily. We're going to talk about Jaehaerys and Alysanne first. So we've already been working on a script. So if that answers your question, thank you for the donation. And I will be doing some kind of like House of Dragon leading into what we may see in the show. So yeah, let's continue. Let's and I know
if you don't mind me interrupting, Carl, I've changed my game. I'm no longer going to be doing that. How many times does Carl take his glasses off? It's now how many times does Carl go?
Well, it's a new thing, right? Like I've only started doing this a week ago.
It's a good look. I'm loving it.
I've got a damage in this eye from blue screen, just from like working so much and stuff like that. So when I don't have these on, I literally get a headache after 30 minutes. But this kind of felt. Oh, Gina's gone wherever she is. Gina, let me know if you need me to send you another link back. Yeah, but it helped. Oh, we'll add her back. Welcome back, Gina. Yeah.
That disappeared and it said log in, and when I clicked it, it went away. So I won't do that again.
So David Benioff, Anime Lover, Morley, thank you for the donations. Really, really appreciate that. Robert, let's get your kind of thoughts on House of the Dragon. We don't know exactly when it's going to start off, but it could be anthology. They could do some sort of anthology where they kind of do a time jump between seasons, kind of like Vikings does. What are your thoughts on House of the Dragon in general? Because Long Night got canceled, and a lot of people were excited to get more of the backstory of the White Walkers. So,
yeah, I mean, I was disappointed that the Long Night was cancelled, but in terms of House of the Dragon, as well as sounding a bit like a Bruce Lee movie, I think what we're going to see is it's going to start off as the build-up to the Dance of the Dragons. I think that's where they're going to go. George R. R. Martin, if you look on his Not a Blog, then he says if you want a hint about what it's going to be covering, have a look at the 2 short stories he did with the Rogue Prince and the one, I've forgotten what name it was, but with the 2 queens, the green and the black. And that is what he's saying it's about. So it's the build-up to the Dance of the Dragons. And so in later seasons, if it's successful, and I'm sure it will be, then I think we will see the Dance of the Dragons.
Well, funny enough, Gene, I'm going to ask you a question about your favorite Targaryen in a second. There's been a lot of debate on Twitter of who is one of the most iconic characters of the decade, and a lot of people were saying Daenerys Targaryen. And I feel, I know Kit Harington got was it a Golden Globe, Robert, that he got nominated for the final season, or at least Thrones in general?
I thought it was a Screen Actors Guild, but
yeah,
I don't
something
really
like that. I do feel as though Emilia Despite all the criticisms for season 8, I felt like Amelia absolutely crushed it, and I just want to go and say that that I think she did a fantastic job with what they were given. So yeah, I'm super excited for House of Dragon. Like, I'm excited for any Thrones. You guys know that. But Gina, what are your thoughts on it? Because there's quite a bit of history there. I mean, we have obviously Aegon the Conqueror coming over. We could, maybe see some of that. They could, like Robert said, be closer to the Dance of Dragons. What are your thoughts on House of Dragon?
I was obviously super excited. I know a lot of people wanted the other show, and that's fine. But for me, I feel like, I was not a fan of how season 8 ended, and it won't replace that. But I feel like the Targaryens getting more airtime and more history. I'm super thrilled about it. And JR did a stream a while back and asked me a similar question. I said, well, for me, any prequel, especially, or sequel, because they can be hit or miss, it's going to come down to the casting that they choose for me, how I really feel about it. If they get a really solid cast of really good people that make sense as Targaryens, then I think they'll knock it out of the park. But I'm with Robert. I don't like the name that they chose, but I'm super happy to see them back on the screen. So.
David Benioff in chat clarified he got a Golden Globe nominee. So thank you for that. Appreciate that. I do hope I honestly, like, over the whole of Thrones, like there were so many great performances. Everybody kind of has their favorite. I mean, obviously Peter Dinklage is one that kind of stands out. Obviously I felt like Lena could have won an award or whatever, but I felt like she was robbed a couple times. But I hope Kit wins. He put in a lot of hard work. He obviously cared about his character. We'll see what happens. It was the only nomination. Season 8 was highly criticized, so I'm not surprised about that. We got another donation here from Danelle Peoples. It says, hi, Kyle, Gina, and Robert, hype and love. By the way, all the fantastic donations, all of the lovely people, even the Gemma and the Helen and the Jared that we spoke of earlier, all of that money will go towards fun times with these lovely people. So we'll pull that together for kind of a fun fund in Orlando for Con of Thrones. Am I not supposed to spoil that? Everybody's going. Whatever. No, sorry, I'm not Robert. Let's see some other stuff in chat. I think Amelia Clark and Kit Harington deserve some kind of treatment. Let's just go back to the long night for a second. What do you think went wrong there, Robert? Because they had a great cast, right? Like, they had Naomi Watts. They had what was her name? She was part of Kick-Ass. Jane Goldman, who's great. Like, I mean, she's done great work with Kingsman and stuff like that. What do you think went wrong there? Was it just kind of like, was it the timing? Was it the timing?
Possibly. Gina, sorry, were you saying something?
Yeah, they had Toby Regbo too, who was in Rain, who's awesome. So they had a lot of good people.
He's in Last Kingdom as well, or was in Last Kingdom. He's great as well. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe the pilot was rubbish. I'm not sure. I'm sure you could Google it, and there will be people out there who will have lots of theories on that. My general feeling is that what happened was that they commissioned this before season 8, when they were happily confident that everyone loved Game of Thrones and everything would work, and the first of the prequels was ready to go, so they commissioned a pilot. Then season 8 happened and they got a little bit jittery and thought, you know what, we're just going to have, this is the biggest thing we're ever going to have on this channel, and we do not want to muck up what happens next. And rather than have what was probably going to be quite an edgy thing with absolutely no characters, no houses, no geography that we know about, completely new story, completely new background, no King's Landing, no nothing. Rather than what was effectively a completely new show, they thought, you know what people like? They like Targaryens and dragons. Let's do that one. And the one thing I would add to that, that's a slightly cynical view from me, that was apparently the first idea that George R.R. Martin pitched to them as a successor show. And that was his first idea all the time. So it's not like this was just some random thing that they came up with and saying, oh, well, why didn't we do that? This was what George R.R. Martin first thought he wanted as a successor show.
And also, speaking of, he sees the Targaryen histories as kind of the Silmarillion of the Lord of the Rings in context. A lot of people talk about that. George R. R. Martin talks about the Targaryen history kind of being his Silmarillion, so to speak. Caterson makes an excellent point in chat. I hope to see Cregan Stark get a big role. There's not just Targaryens. There's a lot of really interesting characters in House of the Dragon. So, Caterson, thank you for mentioning that. Cregan Stark, I mean, the Hour of the Wolf, what a great part of Fire and Blood in this part of Song of Ice and Fire. Caterson, also, I'll bring it up one more time just for everyone, why Gemma isn't here. She's currently dealing with the family matter, so is Helen. JR is working. So for those of you that are concerned, you can send Gemma a hype and love on her channel in the comment section on one of her videos and something like that. Say happy holidays or something like that. But she sent her love, and I sent that out in a message earlier. So thank you for everyone that's concerned about that. So we got a couple of questions in on House of the Dragon there. Alicia Kingston says, looking forward to Ice and Fire Con. Alicia, I won't be able to go anymore, unfortunately, because of some unforeseen circumstances that I experienced while traveling. I'm not going to get into that. But I'm going to have to hopefully go 2021. I know a bunch of people are going there. Do we have any other questions in chat or topics that Robert or Gina, you want to bring up? I know we're all kind of enjoying different things at the moment. And Robert, you haven't been watching a ton of TV, but I know you've been reading The Witcher, which is great.
I have. Why don't we talk about The Witcher for a while? So I'm really looking forward to this. So if you see the trailers, they do look amazing, and it looks like what they've tried to do, which expand it out so it's not just about the character of The Witcher, about Geralt. They've expanded it out to the much wider story, which is what it is really in the books. In the video games, obviously you're playing as Geralt, so everything is kind of surrounding him. But in the books, there's a much wider universe going on there. And actually, although he may well be the sort of the main character, a lot of the action is driven by some of the other characters, like Ciri, for example.
Yeah, it's funny because Laura Hittrich, who's the showrunner, originally pitched to actually do it from the perspective of Ciri, because in the books, it is all from the perspective of Geralt. And of course, we have these other characters who give perspective and who are in kind of Geralt's kind of RPG-like group. But I think that it's really interesting that they're going to be doing Ciri, Yennefer, and Geralt as kind of like the three main protagonists. I've just been going through the books. I just reread The Last Wish over the past couple of days, and I'm actually just almost finished The Sword of Destiny again, going through the short stories. So I'm really excited for The Witcher, and kind of an announcement for everyone in chat. And we'll get to Gina, her thoughts. You're going to be watching The Witcher as well, right, Gina?
Yeah, I have to confess I did not read the books, which I'm really sad about now, but I'm super excited, mostly because Henry Cavill, but I just want to see.
Then we'll talk about him for a second, because he's been really impressive in interviews. But everyone, since there won't be any Game of Thrones for the next little bit, I will be doing some Thrones content, like I said, in the new year, some Fire and Blood stuff. But The Witcher is going to be the new main on the channel. I figured after season one, it's all dropping at once, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish, that it wasn't dropping all at once. I feel that it would be cool to kind of do the discussion over a couple months, since there's 8 episodes. But Witcher, the Witcher is there's so much rich content, like a Song of Ice and Fire. It's a little bit different. It's got more pronounced fantasy elements, but I think I could create some of the kind of the same content that a lot of you enjoyed with theory videos and kind of talking about characters and mythos and stuff like that. So Witcher is going to be the kind of the focus and on the channel for the next little bit. And like I said, I got an editor for the channel. I got some help for the channel, so I'm going to be able to kind of take a little bit of stress, a little bit more stress off me, and able to kind of create some bigger videos and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about The Witcher. As soon as it comes out on Friday, I'm going to be watching the first few episodes and diving into a review. Highly recommend everyone to go get the books. If people are interested in the audiobooks, message me, and maybe we could work something out. I wouldn't be opposed to sharing with some of you. Yeah, so everybody's excited for Witcher. Henry Cavill, you brought him up, Gina. He's been really impressive in interviews. Have you seen the interviews at all with Henry, specifically about The Witcher, Gina?
I have not. I've watched, some of the footage and things that have come out. I've been a fan of his since The Tudors, so I'm excited to see him in this.
Robert, have you seen any of the Henry Cavill interviews?
I've seen a couple. I think the thing that he brings is a huge love of the games that then spilled over into the books. And so what he has got, he's got a character that he loves and has actually played and been, in a way. When we play video games, we become that character. And so he is trying to inhabit that character. So yeah, I think... I mean, if I were to be slightly mean, I would say that Geralt is quite wooden as a character, doesn't show many emotions, and Henry Cavill can pull that off very well.
I think one thing that we should point out about Geralt, and without spoiling too much, is the Witchers go through this tremendously extraneous process where they're exposed to alchemy, where they take all sorts of different potions and poisons to kind of, enhance their vigor. They're kind of in, resistance to certain things in nature. But one thing that I love about Geralt, and that I think a lot of you will discover, is that the world's perception of Geralt is that he is an emotionless person because of the monster he seems on the outside. However, he does have a great capacity to love, and I think that other characters soften him in that nature, where Robert references him to wood. So Ciri has a specific element to her. Geralt is wood. Yennefer is a little bit fire. So each of them kind of combust in their own ways and react with each other, which is funny because The Witcher does take alchemical potions to kind of fight monsters and stuff like that. So I found that to be a really funny reference, Robert. And I'm actually excited to see kind of, the give and take, Geralt's mask and then him being unmasked in front of characters that, become to understand him during the part of the story. But yeah, I was really impressed by Henry Cavill during the interviews. He was like, it was funny. There was like a 40-minute interview. They're like, so how are you, Henry? And he speaks for himself about 10 seconds. He's like, okay, what about Geralt? And then he talks about Geralt for 40 minutes. So he's like, no, I'm not interested in talking about Henry. I'm interested in talking about Geralt. Yeah, I guess that was just me geeking out about The Witcher.
You're allowed to, Carl. It's not a problem at all. As I say, I was a bit mean with Henry Cavill. It's mainly my dislike of Superman that took me there. I think he's a very good actor. What to like about Superman, but I think the thing about Geralt is that he is quite a lot of the time he's very stony faced, and because, as you're saying, all of the kind of the sort of the potions and the kind of the gene mutations that happen to him to make him into a Witcher, that does take away a lot of the surface emotions. They're still there, they're buried deep, but it means that the persona that he puts across naturally is to the people that he meets is quite stony.
And also, what is really interesting about Geralt's character is when we're inserted to the story, Geralt is like 90 years old, so he's seen a lot of the world. He understands the reality of, kings and queens and kind of how he's been treated. First of all, you'll see a lot of that in the first couple episodes, how people treat Geralt. Which I don't want to spoil too much for everyone, but it's going to be really interesting to kind of see how people perceive him and how he treats other people. So yeah, Witcher is #1 on my list. I don't want to compare it to Game of Thrones, but it has some of the great elements that Thrones has, with just the amazing backstory that people can kind of dive into, and I think that a lot of people should be really excited about that. And Andrzej Sapkowski, who's the creator, the author of The Witcher, is they talk to him all the time about the the Slovakian like fairy tales and stuff like that he's based the Witcher novels on, and he's part of the show and stuff like that. They're constantly in communication with him. So a lot of people that have kind of reserved judgments, the stuff that Dan and Dave had with Game of Thrones, there's constant line of communication between the creator of The Witcher and the showrunners, which is a great thing. I think communication is obviously super important when you're trying to bring something to a different medium, specifically television. So yeah, I haven't been paying attention to the chat at all because I've been so excited to talk about The Witcher. What's everybody?
Westworld, which is I cannot wait. I love Westworld.
Speaking of Westworld, Robert, you have some great Westworld videos on your channel.
Well, you're very kind. I'm hoping that I will have many more good Westworld videos coming up, because Westworld Season 3 is going to happen in 2020. We don't know exactly when yet. They've not said. My best guess is April, but that is just a guess. But yeah, they take their time over it, and I love that.
That was the rumor. It was March or April for the release date. I'm especially excited that they have Aaron Paul attached to the project. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. For those of you that know that I love television, Breaking Bad is my favorite television show of all time, other than Game of Thrones. Pardon me. So the fact that he's attached to the project is really exciting. And then people are saying that there's kind of this Blade Runner vibe to season 3. So that's exciting because obviously Blade Runner is highly respected. So if it this kind of techno future vibe, I'm really excited to see where they go with that. Gina, you watch Westworld?
I love Westworld. Yes.
This is something that I'm just newly into, so I'm kind of probably a little bit behind in the understanding of how everything works in that world, but pretty excited to.
I cosplayed Dolores at Dragon Con, and I also like that Ramin does the soundtrack to that one too.
Yeah, Ramin Djawadi MVP. He won a bunch of awards. Didn't he win like a lifetime?
As he should.
Yeah. He's fantastic. I did see some Baby Yoda chatter. I did see some Baby Yoda love there earlier. Before the stream actually got on, I was like, Robert, watch The Mandalorian because I want to talk about it with you. And he's like, Kyle. He went like this. Kyle, I've seen enough of Baby Yoda. Mainly you sending me 5 gifts in our private chats every day. So he knows about Baby Yoda, everyone.
And
it's impossible not to know about Baby Yoda.
He's the best. He's the best thing that's ever happened.
And he drinks things from a cup like that. I mean, I've seen the gifts. I know this.
It's super.
I played my kid for Baby Yoda.
One thing that a lot of people have been talking about with The Mandalorian, and I kind of wanted to bring up, and I had a discussion with I think it's Jason Artigan, who's a big community member, is that a lot of people are like, The Mandalorian has kind of only had like 2 or 3 episodes of character development, and there's been these 4 kind of sidetrack episodes. But like, I think sometimes we like all of these new shows, we want to compare to Game of Thrones and like how like this amazing epic story that we have. And I really actually like the lightness of The Mandalorian and going on these kind of like sidetrack little missions and going to like these different planets and stuff like that, and finding these stupid little bars with these stupid little aliens. And I don't know, there's just like this like nice lightness, even though there's serious elements to The Mandalorian and the story in the greater part of the Star Wars universe. I do like the kind of like monster of the week type episodes that X-Files did within The Mandalorian. That's kind of the vibe that I get from it. And there's like a classic Western samurai, old school Kurosawa films and stuff like that, that George Lucas took his original love for Star Wars, and that was kind of like his original inspiration for Star Wars movies, old westerns and stuff like that. So I love The Mandalorian. I have been a little bit disappointed with a few episodes, but I'm having fun watching it. And I know the episodes are only 30 minutes, but I know a few people have complained kind of like of the impact of some of the episodes. Gina, you're all caught up on The Mandalorian now.
Almost. I have one to go. I fell asleep on the last one because I was up super late, but I love it.
And your daughter is...
But mostly Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, people are saying Watchmen in chat. Yeah, I've only been able to watch a few episodes of that because I've been just reading all the Witcher books. it's kind of what I've been into. But I heard it's absolutely excellent. I see John Haymaker actually with an avatar. Part of me that is Watchmen. Sorry. People were saying they love The Mandalorian in chat. But let's open up some more questions. If anybody has questions, I don't know. Oh, Robert put the glasses back on. Damn, I think we're at 3. We're at 3 or 4 now. I can't remember the count for glasses.
5.
Actually, let's get a little poll in chat. How many people are going to see Star Wars Rise of Skywalker? I had someone send me a private message in one of the YouTube videos that I just did on The Mandalorian. I deleted it immediately. It obviously spoiled me for the movie, but I tried to save as many of you in the comment section as I could. People always like to do that around release time for movies. Robert, you're going to see it Friday. Gina, you're not sure. I'm going to see it tomorrow, right?
Again.
Yeah, opening night. Oh, we have Geek Chat 1. There's JR in the chat. He's popping in.
He's sneaking around at work right now. What's happening?
So, what are you most excited for? What are you most excited for in Rise of Skywalker, Gina? What do you like? I mean, it's the final movie of the Skywalker saga, right?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've been a fan since I was a little kid. I was telling JR and he was making fun of me that my mom almost made me go to therapy because when I was 4, I refused to answer if people didn't call me Luke Skywalker. And it went on for a really long time. So she thought I had like an identity issue. So I've just been a fan, and I'm not really convinced that this will actually be the last one, but I mean, every storyline needs a conclusion. So I just want to see what they do with it.
Gina, a lover of Star Wars, like many of us since childhood. Robert, I mean, Bendemption. I know a lot of people have been talking about that.
Yeah.
Raylo is another one.
I mean, I think I just, the main thing I want is an end to this kind of like, what is the Force, what is good and evil, kind of like high level conceptual stuff. That's the kind of stuff I get off on. It's just like particularly the last 2 have been really going down this kind of route of, where's Rey going? Is she good? Is she evil? And then you get there is no good or evil. It's all the same kind of. Where are they actually going with this? Are they saying the Force is a spectrum? Are they saying that actually midichlorians aren't real? I don't know. I just want some kind of conclusion to all of that kind of whole narrative that they had going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of people, of course, want to see Force ghosts and all of that, kind of this council, these advisors to Rey or Kylo. Obviously, there's some big speculation in the movie as to who is the main antagonist in the film. And I think it's pretty clear that Emperor Palpy, as Helen would like to say, or Palpy. It's actually funny because in our private chat, that's what I nicknamed her, Empress Palpatine. Actually, my Funko up there, that's Emperor Palpatine that I got from Helen. Funny enough. But I'm really interested in that too, because we hear in some of the trailers, I've been the voices in your head. I can't do Ian McDiarmid, but yeah, I'm really interested to see kind of what's going on with Kylo, because he was influenced by Snoke and he killed his father Han Solo and all that, and I'm just really excited to kind of see the end of the Jedi and what that means, because there's clearly only going to be one Skywalker left, or maybe none after this movie. So it'll be really interesting to see kind of where they go with it. But one thing is for certain, they spent a lot of money on the CGI, and it's going to be super exciting. I'm going to see it tomorrow at 7 p.m. I probably won't be able to sleep after that because The Witcher literally drops like 3 hours after I go see Rise of Skywalker. So spoiled.
And then you'll want to make videos. No sleep for like 3 days, I think.
I'm getting old though. I can't. it's harder and harder to do that, man. I was only that hype for Game of Thrones season 8. I can't kind of recreate that. I don't think.
I'm sure you can give it a good go.
People are saying Lando Calrissian in chat. There's gonna be some great cameos, right?
Yeah, I mean, what I think we can be sure of is they are going to try and tie off as many different things as they can. So all the characters, they're going to try and get them some kind of ending to whatever arc they had. And yeah, I think that there's going to be a huge amount of Force ghosts. I think we're going to see a whole load of characters that we've seen before coming back again. It's I think it would be just too much for them to resist that. It's just, I mean, I would if you gave me the chance to direct the finale to this 9-part epic, yeah, I'd have everyone coming back. Excellent. Let's have Mace Windu. I mean, why not? It's just fantastic.
For those of you who don't think I'm a Star Wars fan, this is a Kylo Ren mask watch. There's going to be lots of fan servicey moments, kind of, and I expect the good guys will win in the end. I'll just say that. It's Star Wars has always been about hope, this main theme of hope. So we'll see what happens. Has Little Bear seen the Star Wars films, or was it a little bit too much?
Oh no, she loves Star Wars. So we watched when she was very young. We started with like the originals that came out, and she's already wanting a baby Yoda for Christmas. So,
so she's all into it.
We're probably also about to adopt an alpaca. So there's that.
So wait, you're about to adopt an alpaca?
That's really interesting.
We're weird.
I don't know anyone that's attempted or thought of that, but that'd be cool. I mean, I'd be interested in seeing it. I'm going to shout some people out in chat. We have Baron Kalik. Azor Hype has a question here, and we're going to go through some questions in chat. Who do you consider the good guys? I think the First Order will be the ultimate winner, those damn rebels. Funny enough, if you watch The Mandalorian, the last episode has someone I think that is super integral to the First Order. I think that will be expanded upon. But I mean, yeah, Poe will survive. I think Rey, Finn. I think Kylo will die, redeem himself or something like that. I think it'll be pretty predictable. A lot of the return of if J.J. Abrams is the director, it's going to be a lot of the Return of the Jedi vibes. Let's just say that. We have Alicia Kingston in chat, Liz Kopich in the chat, John Haymaker, Forrest Blurda, Alan Cassidy, who I love. He's a great cosplayer. You guys might have saw him on the Geek Chat 1 stream. He was dressed up as Tywin with his wife, and he was also at DragonCon. I almost broke his phone, actually. You know when Tormund runs at John in season 8? I did the same thing, but I knocked Alan's phone out of his hand and nearly broke it at DragonCon. No joke. So Alan Cassidy, Tipsy Nerd Herd, Kate Bertinsky, Tubbs, lots of awesome people in chat. Aaron Irene. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of a Star Wars debate going on in chat, and that's always. I had to log off Twitter there for today. I got into it with a couple people about The Last Jedi, and I promise not to get in too many arguments on Twitter because
AB says you actually knocked his phone across the room.
I got really excited that I saw him. Okay, so just putting this in perspective, there's a thing called the Pulse Bar at DragonCon, okay? And there's literally a crowd of 2,000 people there every night partying until 7 in the morning. I saw Alan there, and there was like 1,000 people, and the chance of me seeing Alan and a big group of people like that is very small at DragonCon. So the fact that I saw him, I went up to him, wanted to go give him a hug, but I don't know why. I knocked his phone out of his hand. I'm an asshole. I did like The Last Jedi. What about you? Did you guys like The Last Jedi? I enjoyed it. I enjoy Rian Johnson as a filmmaker. I know a lot of people are highly skeptical of him. What are your thoughts on that, Robert?
Well, on you knocking phones out of people's hands, I find that incredibly likely.
You're not going to comment on The Last Jedi, or
Not a lot of the
On
Dragon.
The Last Jedi, I mean, my short review is that I enjoyed it, but it was a little bit bloated and self-indulgent.
Okay.
I wasn't a fan of Carrie Poppins.
That makes sense. The whole Leia surviving outer space scene. I get that. Gina, you flashed an empty wine. Do you have to go get wine, or are you out of wine?
I'm out. Well, I mean, I have some, but I need to go get it. So I need
All
to.
right. I mean, go. I mean,
wait.
we're not stopping you. Sorry, I've been inactive. Oh no, don't worry at all. Yeah, I totally get that, Robert. I mean, a lot of people grew up with these characters, so they're. I mean, it's like what we felt that got kind of that. You know, I personally enjoyed season 8 a little bit more. Oh, Robert took off the glasses. Here we go.
It's basically, at some point, I will just go on a long rant about Star Wars, and I've just the time has not yet come. But give me another couple.
Oh, look at Gina with that generous pour. Yeah, I understand because the characters that people grew up with and kind of the destroying of certain tropes that people would say destroying characters that Rian Johnson did in The Last Jedi. But yeah, there are certain people. The reviews are out for The Rise of Skywalker, and I don't want to discourage anyone, but they aren't great. So
usually that means it's good though when they overhype it.
I don't think so. I'm expecting it to just do what I need it to do. That's what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting a work of art from it. I mean, I don't. Star Wars isn't a work of art. I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Star Wars is something that you're supposed to enjoy. You're supposed to just love the characters and the story and all the rest of it. But it's I'm not expecting something that is going to blow us away with how clever and subtle it is. Yeah. I think that they need to end all these storylines in a satisfying way, and J.J. Abrams is good enough to do that. But I don't think that it will be astonishingly good.
There will be a playing it safe, a course correction from The Last Jedi. Some people will be displeased about the course correction because they enjoyed The Last Jedi. Some people will be upset about playing it too safe. So therefore, you can't please everyone. What will happen. And I think that's kind of what's going to happen with it. Star Wars has always been this very polarizing thing. I mean, when The Empire Strikes Back came out, I don't know if I was born then. I probably wasn't. But I think it was 1983, The Empire Strikes Back came out. But anyways, that was people were up in arms about that movie. So I expect there to be quite a bit of criticism about this movie. I'm not saying that means it's not bad. But I enjoy Star Wars for what it is, a spectacle. That's what I think it is. Gina's back with some wine. What are you most excited for next, Gina? Out of all the shows, movies, there's a lot of stuff coming out. What are you most excited to see next?
Oh gosh. I mean, if the casting looks really good, and if they would ever do what I really want, which is to cast Mark Ryder as a Targaryen, it would probably be that. I would be most excited for that. Right now, I'm probably most hyped up about Westworld just because I know how solid that is, and I really enjoy watching it. It's really hard. As much as I goof off, I do most appreciate an intelligent storyline and one that I can't predict. Yeah. And I almost predict all of them always. And Westworld has surprised me enough that I really, really appreciate the writing. So I guess right now I'm leaning to Westworld unless we go off fantasy and talk about the Peaky Blinders cliffhanger. I love that show too. But Westworld would be my number one until I'm happy with the casting for House of the Dragon.
I think one thing too that Gina, you pointed out that I think is really important, like the Peaky Blinders, great show. I think that one thing that I think is really important is if you enjoy something, I think a lot of people always compare all of the great television and movies to the epic fantasies or the epic sci-fi movies that we have. And it doesn't always I don't think we always need to do that. If it's something that's formulaic or episodic, or if it's something like Peaky Blinders is kind of this period piece and you really like that, cool. You know what I mean? I think that's awesome. So I think it's nice to have these like balance of shows that aren't necessarily as like heavy as some of the other stuff that we usually get. Robert, what are you most excited for? I know you're excited for Westworld for sure, and you said you're watching Westworld. But what do you
so what Westworld, definitely love it. A couple of things that have come up in the chat that I just want to name check.
Yeah.
His Dark Materials, if you've not seen it yet, watch it. If you liked the books, this does justice to the books, so definitely watch that. It's out now. Anna Iglesias in the chat talked about Dracula. The BBC are doing an adaptation of Dracula that looks like it's going to be quite faithful to the original, and this is by Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss, who are the guys behind Sherlock. So that's looking like it's going to be pretty impressive. The trailers are looking scarily good. That is coming out in the UK over Christmas, so I'm assuming it'll be in the rest of the world as well at the same time, if not quite soon. The other thing, looking a little bit further into the future, the Lord of the Rings series on Prime, Amazon Prime. I cannot wait. I would be shocked if it arrives within 18 months.
2 years.
But it's gonna.
$1 billion over 5 years.
Excited I am.
Mark Gatiss, by the way, for a lot of people who don't know who he is, he played Tycho Nestoris in the Game of Thrones TV show. But first of all, in Sherlock, he was fantastic. Got to say that. I love my BBC Sherlock. I mean, the castings, they are starting to do some of the castings. They're doing Lord of the Rings, the Second Age, I believe, right, Robert? They released the map. They kind of teased that a little bit. But they're specifically going to focus a lot on Numenor, which is
probably. We have very, very little information is the honest answer. I mean, I've started doing video. If you're interested in it, I've started doing videos on my channel, which is, I've not plugged my channel yet. Indeed, please go check it out. But I've started doing videos on that.
So much better.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that at all, but I'm going to carry on talking because I'm excited. But it's set in the Second Age. Amazon only got the rights for the Second Age, and what that means for people who aren't quite as nerdy as me is that this isn't just the Lord of the Rings story done again. This is stuff from several thousand years before that, and there will be some characters that we know, like some of the elves, like Elrond will still be around, Galadriel, and so on. But mostly this is stories which Tolkien wrote about back in the Silmarillion and in the appendices to the Lord of the Rings, but we haven't yet seen anywhere in like prop on TV or on screen or anywhere like that. So it's really exciting. We haven't yet got the detail, and the reason we haven't got the detail, let's be honest, is they haven't written it yet. They have to. Very soon, the deal they signed meant that they have to start doing principal filming this year. So they have to actually get out and start filming a few things. But we're still only getting actors announced every now and then. The thing is very, very slow. But I would so much prefer that they get it right than they speed it up.
One thing that's, I think, awesome that Robert, he mentioned there's going to be the Second Age, lots of factions like Game of Thrones, the dwarves, the elves, the Numenorians, just the whole world. There's this huge world. There's a lot more there. It's a lot more alive as opposed to what we see with the three epic movies. Well, I want to say we see the Hobbit movies, which aren't as good as the original trilogy. Funny enough, we watched the extended version all together, and I slept through most of it. But we were all in England together, so I kind of regret that. I was pooped out. Gina, you're a big. We do got a donation before we get to Gina's thoughts on Lord of the Rings here. From Geek Chat 1, from JR. Happy holidays to all of you, or all y'all, I should say y'all. Miss ya. We love you too, JR. Thank you very much for that donation. And all the donations in the chat tonight. Everybody's been really generous. You're a big fan of the Lord of the Rings too, right, Gina?
Yeah, probably not as knowledgeable as Helen, who in my mind is the leading authority on all things Tolkien. But No, huge fan, and I agree with what Robert said. To me, it's a lot more important that they take their time with something like that and they get it right than how quickly it comes out. So definitely excited for it, but want them to give it the credit that it's due.
Also, plug Clueless Fangirl. If you have the Clueless Fangirl is Helen's channel. If you haven't checked out her Lord of the Rings videos, oh my God, they're very, very good. Very well detailed. Goes over the timelines, characters, very well explained. She talks a lot slower than I do, so you can understand things a lot easier. So that is something that you should go check out. I know Chrissy's eating dinner right now. Any of the mods, if you can find the Clueless Fangirl link, that'd be fantastic. Alicia Kingston says she's okay with waiting for 2 years, specifically on the Lord of the Rings, I think. Oh, Chrissy's back in chat. Chrissy, can you grab Helen's channel link? That would be fantastic if you could link in the chat for anyone that is interested in Lord of the Rings content. Did I see Sir Davos on Rick and Morty? I don't watch Rick and Morty, unfortunately, John Haymaker. I actually haven't been watching a lot of TV lately. I did watch The Expanse. Speaking of, Robert, do you watch The Expanse? No, you.
I don't. Just while I'm talking, Ana Iglesias says the Dracula thing I was talking about a moment ago will come out on the 4th of January on Netflix as well as BBC in the UK. Expanse is something I have twice tried to get into and twice failed. I will try one more time, guys, because so many people that I respect suggest it to me and say, how can you not love this? But I'm going to give it one more go, and that's it.
Part of the reason why I don't sleep so well is I'm up chatting with people at 3 a.m. About specific shows. One, last night I was talking with the Shea, Mystery of Westeros. I think it was like 4 a.m. about The Expanse. Just ridiculous. So another show that I absolutely love. I specifically spoke earlier about getting help for the channel with an editor, so I can do more content, not just on one specific genre, because my immediate blinders are focused on The Witcher, because I've been just in the books. I'm just like so enamored with the story and the characters. I love them so much. That's going to be my main thing. But also, I got an editor. I'm going to do some Expanse videos and different stuff with the channel. So I got a little bit of help there. I know I promised. I interviewed the 2 main male protagonists at DragonCon 2019 with Ashea this year. And I feel like if I don't do that, it's like I'm shooting Destiny or something. Like I can't just not do that. Those were huge interviews. So I got to do some Expanse content. It's coming. It's going to be a little bit later than I would like, but I'm working on it. I can't. No, I'm not a one-man team anymore, sort of. So I'm working on it. Okay. Let's get to some more questions. We are currently at 52 minutes. I'm not going to take up too much of Robert and Gina's time. I said we would do like a fun little hour stream. So got about 15 minutes left in the both of you. We can take on that.
At your disposal, as always, Kyle. You the boss.
Awesome. So chat, let's just open it up. We've kind of talked about all sorts of different stuff. It's been really great so far. Thank you, of course, Robert and Gina, for joining me. Gina, on social media, people can find you, the After Con of Thrones Facebook group. That's kind of where you do most of your dealings.
That and Ball at the Wall. I've got to pick back up on the next Ball at the Wall, first of the year. So that's my next big project.
I was supposed to attend that, but we won't go into that, unfortunately. But yeah, that was great. Thank you for the invite. I would have loved to come. Ball at the Wall, check that out on Facebook. Of course, After Con of Thrones, Gina's a big part of that as well. Great cosplay, if you haven't checked out her cosplay. And also, of course, Indeed Geek. I mean, he's like world famous. Every time we get in a goddamn cab, people know him. You know what I mean?
Okay, there's a story there. So when we were in Nashville and we rented, few of us rented a place a little bit away from the conference center where Con of Thrones was, And so we got at least 2 cabs every day to the conference center and back. Every single time, Kyle jumped in the front seat and immediately introduced everybody. And for those of us who are in Europe, you will know that that's not what you do. You just ignore the taxi driver and they do their thing and everyone's happy with it. Kyle just would not stop bragging about him and his famous friends. It was very embarrassing.
I'm trying to search for YouTube. People were asking for Christmas music in the chat. And I feel like I got to get this video demonetized at some point, since we're having a few drinks, to at least put on one Christmas song. Actually, you know what? Gina and Robert, entertain the chat right now. I'm trying to find.
Let's talk London. Let's talk London.
Let's talk London. And we also got another donation. Mandolin. Mandy. What's going on? What are some of your favorite festive activities and holiday songs? Well, you know what? I'm going to put one on. I'm just going to, I have my my Roku here on my flat screen. I'm going to put on a song. Well, actually, the both of you tell the chat before we get into London and our trip together, what your favorite Christmas songs are.
Regina?
My favorite one is Green Sleeves. Huge Henry VIII fan. They believe he wrote that song. That's my favorite. And I always throw parties. That's my thing.
Are you confusing Christmas with the 16th century?
16th century, but yes.
Okay, all right. That's fair enough. I don't know if I have a Christmas traditions. I think I just love taking some time off. Just relaxing, enjoying, hanging out with the fam, and just not doing a thing. Christmas Day is just eating really nice food, drinking a couple of glasses of something really tasty, and then just watching some old rubbish on the TV, and I love it.
Tobe said Grandma got run over by a reindeer. That is a classic. It's so good.
All right. I found my favorite Christmas song.
Uh-oh. Is it Canadian?
It's actually sang by a Canadian. Michael Bublé. This is the Michael Bublé version. Are we ready for this? Ready?
No.
Ready?
Always ready for Bublé.
Jolly, jolly Christmas.
It's the best time of the year. I don't know if there'll be snow, but have a cup of cheer. Have a
holly jolly Christmas.
And when you walk down the street, say hello.
Ho, 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 hodor.
I mean, this is just live stream gold, isn't it?
Oh, the mistletoe is hung where you can see.
I'm trying to lip sync.
This is what happens when Jim and Howard total chaos.
Christmas. Okay, that's all you're getting, chat. We're getting demonetized because that was over 30 seconds. But that's my favorite Christmas song. It always brings me warmth. I'm really, really excited next week to be spending some time with my family. We always do a Christmas Eve thing and lots of snacks. I always gain about 5 pounds, and we always drink Baileys. My aunt makes ice cream herself. I don't know if any of you like that, but it's something that we enjoy in our coffee on Christmas morning and also at night on the rocks and stuff like that. So there's lots of snacks. Gina's grimacing. You're probably drinking more, you're probably enjoying more posh stuff like nice red wine or whatever.
Only right now.
but yeah, I think really excited for the holidays. Gonna be taking a couple of days off for sure. Christmas Day. Maybe not the next day. I'll definitely be taking Christmas off. But let's talk a little bit about London, because me and Gina got to cross the Atlantic and hang out with Gemma, Helen, and Robert. And that was quite the adventure.
Time ever.
Yeah.
So good.
It's the best city ever, so of course. Yeah. And we are the best people ever, so, you know, perfect combination.
Yeah, it was a really good time. There was, I think one of my highlights, obviously my favorite part was hanging out with the gang. Just hanging out we had a really nice Airbnb. It was nice and cozy. We had a cat. We had our own Airbnb cat.
Oh, the cat.
And I went to every day It's funny. Robert and the gang would pay me when they were all hungover to go do Tesco runs.
Which was never hungover because we don't drink.
Yeah, that's a lie. And one day, Helen was so in love with this cat. She gave me money to go pick up cat food for the cat. He was clearly very sick. I think. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but we gave him fresh water and food and stuff. And what did we name him? Was it Tormund?
He was Tormund. He was a giant orange cat, and he showed up and looked like he was dying. And then Kyle got him some food and water, and he like perked up and became a whole new cat in 10 minutes.
He came 3 days in a row for food, but then we didn't see him again after that. I think we didn't see him the last couple of days. But yeah, that was one of the things that happened on the London trip. There was a lot of great food. We ate out. We went to the karaoke for Helen's birthday. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So Helen had this great idea, as Helen always does, that we were going to dress up and do superhero karaoke for her birthday, because the whole point was it was Helen's birthday. And only Helen and I dressed up. She was Wonder Woman. I was She-Ra. But they have box karaoke, so we're in this little box all by ourselves. But it was the best time ever. You could like see the screen because it was right there, and none of us had to wear our glasses, and it was really fun. I have the best picture of Kyle and Robert ever, like singing a duet together. So.
Yeah, we had like our mics, like when you cross arms, like had our mics. Robert, the first song of the night, was playing with this blow up air guitar. You should have seen it. Robert's like, why are you giving this information to everyone? But listen, it was and he was like bending the guitar. It was so funny. But it was like, those those pods they get in Tokyo, like you see them all.
I'm just waiting to see when I need to interrupt Kyle here.
Yeah. But by the end of it, like I think we were there for like 3 hours. We originally
there forever.
We originally had the booth for like 2 hours, and then Helen's like, no, let's extend it. And by the end of it, I was trying to sing the last song. Everybody gave me the mic, and I was like, I couldn't even, like my vocal cords were gone.
What all did we sing? I know we did some Bon Jovi, was really good.
We did like all like like lots of Queen. We did like 5 Queen songs.
Yeah, Gemma did her classic Eminem act. If you've never experienced Gemma as Eminem, then you've missed out in life, basically.
Oh, and so shameless plug here. In Orlando, we are bringing our superhero karaoke back. So there is going to be a superhero karaoke night in Orlando again.
John Haymaker, we did do Living on a Prayer for sure.
We did for sure.
There was we did a few Radiohead songs.
I did Ice Ice Baby.
Ice Ice Baby. We did like a hip hop. We did like hip hop, like old like Notorious B.I.G., some Tupac and stuff like that. I tried to do Cranberry Zombies and everybody nixed me. Zombie, and I tried to do Zombie and everybody stopped me. At that point, I think I had quite a few margaritas, so I think that it was probably
that's perfect. Yes.
Wasn't that the night I passed out and you guys put cards all over me?
Oh no. No, that was the night that
we went to Hawksmoor. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
No, that was the night I had like 6 picadors at dinner with all that steak and the mashed potatoes with like the Gruyere cheese.
So I'm not going to go too far into this, but just to give you guys an idea of how weird and messed up karaoke night was, we went downtown first to a pub and we had fish and chips. And some random lady comes up and sees Kyle taking pictures. We don't know this woman. We've not had a conversation. And she goes, he's Canadian. And that's how our night started. And then, of course, me and Helen are walking downtown, like through London in our crazy-ass superhero outfits. We get into the karaoke booth. We're super drunk. And all of a sudden, I get a message from this guy that I've been talking to in England for 17 years. And he's like, oh, you're in Soho. I'm going to come over there. And I'm like, I'm in a superhero outfit. He's like, great. And so some guy I've never met that I've talked to for 17 years shows up with his friend and hangs out with us all night. It was the weirdest night ever.
London is such a great city. It's really beautiful.
So fun. Once Kyle figured out the subway.
I almost died by train. I see Pete Easy in the chat. I see Misty, Bernie. I see Bernie in the chat as well. Mary Jade Skywalker. Also, it's been a long time since we've done a stream, and there was a member of our Patreon. His name was Pedro. He passed away at the age of 29. Unfortunately, so it would have been his birthday, I believe. Was it today or yesterday? So Pedro was always in the streams, a very big supporter, and that kind of just, some of you knew him. So yeah, that's something that I wanted to quickly point out in the chat. He was a huge supporter for the channel. Rest in peace, Pedro. Huge supporter of the channel. Yeah, that way it was epic. London was so epic. It went by really fast, though. That's the only thing.
It was very fast. We drank so much in London. Robert taught me how to make tea and got like 300 views on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, I've got another career, it turns out, if I ever want to do it, showing people how to make tea. I hadn't realized there was such a demand, but, going live on Gina's channel, was it just your Facebook, I think?
Channel. I'm not a YouTuber. Yeah. It was just my Facebook page, and Robert's like being an ass and showing me how to make tea and making fun of me.
Hang on, what, being an ass? I was not. I was kindly showing you how to make tea. You
told me I sucked at making tea. But
well, you did, to be fair.
287 people in 1 hour watched Robert criticize my tea making.
No. I showed you very kindly and benevolently how to make proper tea, because you were saying you wanted to know how English people make tea, and that is what I did. I just showed you how English people make tea.
Now I make tea properly.
Also, and the world is a better place, Gina.
Also, the one thing that was great, about, I think it was the last day that we were there. I don't know if you were here for this, Gina, but Robert cooked a proper English breakfast, like blood sausage, everything, tomatoes, like it was like mushrooms, beans. He cooked like the toast in butter, like fried toast.
I'll leave you for dinner.
Like bread.
What?
But fair.
It sounds horrible, but it's lovely.
But fairly, I did clean up our mess every morning and make breakfast most days, so it was nice to have the favor returned.
Oh my God! The first night we're there, I think I can say this. Some things you can't, but I think we can say this.
Yeah.
So the first day we get there, Kyle and I first hated each other because it's a long story, but there was a train mishap that Kyle blamed me for.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get there and we immediately go to Tesco because Gemma and Helen want to dissolve the situation and get some alcohol because Robert's coming the next day. So we go to Tesco, which is a lovely place, and we buy all the supplies we think we're going to need for the whole week. And then we go back to the B&B and Robert's like, oh, I'll be there tomorrow. Kyle passes out. Helen goes to bed. And they leave me and Gemma up. And this is the first time Gemma and I have ever been alone together, ever. I don't know what happened. I just woke up the next day. And
you both drank a full bottle of vodka.
So I fall down the stairs and I come out in the living room and Kyle's down there cleaning up things. And he's like, what the fuck happened last night? It looks like a frat party in here. We still don't know. We're not sure. But Robert shows up Robert called and was like, and Helen's like, we need to go to the liquor store. He's like, I thought you guys went yesterday. And Helen's like, yeah, it's gone.
Well, that's because Gemma did drink a lot of it. But cheers to Gemma because she's an absolute champ. But you guys drank a 40 of vodka.
And two bottles of wine.
Yeah.
Just us in one night.
I was in bed because Gina tried to kill me by train, but anyways, long story short, I was supposed to take about 3 hours of trains and it ended up being 6 hours. Let's not even get into the story. I survived though. And, but anyways, that was part of the London trip. London trip was amazing. We did lots of sightseeing, went to lots of lovely pubs. Robert, your assistant, is her name Jen?
Oh, good.
Yeah, Jen.
Jen, she's fantastic. She took us on a tour and like explained like all these cool old ghost stories and stuff like that, and just like kind of some of the really bloody history of London. Like,
what's her tour name? She does tours.
Yeah,
with her company.
She does. If you look on my Twitter, then you'll see a link to her tours. She's coming up with a name at the moment, or otherwise I would plug it.
She's so good. She took us to Bridget Jones's like front door and all sorts of things. I was so drunk by the end of it. I don't know where we went.
And we went to a speakeasy where she had like a secret password where you can't even get in.
I had to say, I want to get lucky. Was that it?
Yeah.
Don't give away the secret password, Gemma. Gina, this is the whole point about secret.
Ending the stream, Gina gave away the secret password to the speakeasy. Yeah, no. What we had a really nice dinner at Hawksmoor, which is it's like an old train station, right, Robert?
Here we go.
Yeah, it was a wonderful steakhouse. It's a chain, but it's a good quality steak.
And Kyle had the
Picador. Wait, so
you're supposed to say best bone marrow and margarita ever.
Oh my God, yeah. So they have this option for those of you that like steak out there to have bone marrow with like caramelized onions on top of it. I know it's just absurd. And like, so you scoop it up and it's like this fat goes on top of the steak and it's already cooked in butter and herbs and it's like amazing. And then I had the mashed potatoes mixed with like Gruyere cheese. And then like I had roasted mushrooms that were like cooked in balsamic vinegar. Anyways, and then they had this drink there. It's called the Picador. They had about 6 of them, probably too many. But the Picador, it was too many because I was so done at the end of the night. But the Picador is actually the name for the original margarita back in the 1920s. It was actually made with not just lime juice, but it was made with multiple citrus juices. And they made this like their own simple syrup. Like as a former bartender, this is the most delicious drink I ever had. And the first time I had the first one, I literally sipped it and I drank it. And I'm like, I'll take 2 more. So that was kind of the start of a messy night. I don't really remember the train ride back. But apparently I did some dancing at a yoga studio or something like so. Like sort of.
You danced in front of a pineapple club.
Outside the yoga studio in a quite seedy way. But let's move on quickly.
There's a video. If you subscribe to Kyle's Patreon, I'll send it to you.
We have another donation. We're going to wrap up the stream here. I think that's a good time after what we just talked about. Carrie Harrison, $10. Happy holidays, everyone. Check you all later. Thank you so much for that. And everybody that's been chilling here with us. Of course, Helen sends her best regards, her love to everyone. Gemma, of course, I said was dealing with a few things behind the scenes, but she sends her love and appreciation to all of you and her support. So if you guys want to go send some love and support to Helen and Gemma, you're welcome to do that. JR, of course, you saw a little bit in the chat earlier. He's still at the office doing some stuff. And there might be another Christmas stream. It's not on this. I don't know. There might be like a New Year's one or something. It's probably like a small one, just a fun one. I felt it was appropriate to kind of just get a few of our group members together and kind of just hang out with you. It's really been a while, and I thought it would be really, really fun.
I drank a whole bottle of wine during this.
I'm pretty good. I've had 3 whiskeys, but I'm pretty tired, so I don't want to. I've been editing my Mandalorian video, so I don't want to have too many and have a little bit too much fun. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining this evening. We all had a super blast in London together. I know a lot of you I know Chrissy, you're going to Orlando next year. Con of Thrones. I'm really excited to see you. Yeah. Chrissy's
I'm really excited about that. Fantastic news, Chrissy.
I know Mandolin will be there. She's in the Florida area, so that's really exciting. And anybody that's watching this video, of course, in the comment section, let us know if you're going to Con of Thrones. Tell us what you're most excited to go check out. Like, there's so much awesome stuff that isn't Thrones right now. All sorts of awesome shows and movies coming out. So discussion in the comment section, anything that you would like to discuss. I'll try to get to as many comments, questions as I can. And thank you to all the moderators this year. Especially those of like during Game of Thrones season 8, like Alicia and Chrissy and others like Mandy. That was a crazy time. It really has been an interesting year, hasn't it? 2019 has been. Yeah, I'm ready for 2020. I'll just say that. What about you guys? You ready for 2020?
So ready.
Bring it on.
And don't forget, everybody, we're still throwing like the big parties for Con of Thrones this year. So I think we have 4 of them up, events on the After the Con page. So the minute like the official Mischief Management Con portion ends, like we are going to hang out all night. There's so many awesome things to do. All of us will be together again and planning stuff. So we'll
all be there. All 3 of us will be there. I believe JR is
Helen, JR. We're all
going to be there. So really excited for that. Of course, we send our love and happy holidays to all of you, whatever you're celebrating. If you're not celebrating, we wish you, of course, safety and happiness and love heading into 2020. Tomorrow, my Mandalorian video episode review for episode 7 will be out. And then Friday, my very first, not my very first Witcher video, Witcher episode 1 review will be out. And then consequently, there will be lots more Witcher videos. Robert,
Star Wars one?
Pardon me?
Are you going to do a review after you see Star Wars?
I'm doing a podcast, depending on Helen's schedule. Whenever she sees it, whenever we can get together, we're going to do a Rise of Skywalker podcast, I believe, at some point next week. What's next with you, Gina?
I haven't done a lot right now, but I kind of made a deal with myself. I was going to call it quits until the first of the year. And then I've got some surveys to review, but I feel like we're going to try to get Sam Coleman and The Wolf and the Crows to Ball at the Wall this year. So that's going to be in October again. So we'll start selling tickets probably first of the year. And then I'm doing Ice and Fire. It's also my 40th / birthday. So I'll do Ice and Fire, and then we'll be at Con of Thrones together with the group and planning parties. So
there's a bunch of people in chat that will be at Ice and Fire. I know John Webster will be there. Alicia Kingston goes as kind of a yearly thing. I know a bunch of you are going. So that'll be super fun. Great community. Great people there at Ice and Fire Con. Unfortunately, I had to cancel my appearance this year because I kind of had to pick and choose. Con of Thrones, Dragon Con. It's going to be my thing next year. Mandolin will be there. Robert, what's next for you?
More videos. So I've got glasses off, guys. Getting serious. So on my main channel, In Deep Geek, I've got I'm working on Winds of Winter now. That's my main focus. What's going to be happening? I've got a huge theory video coming up all about the Crypts of Winter that I'm very excited about. I'm going to launch that one some point over Christmas. Also looking at Lord of the Rings, I've got Sauron, a character study, which again I'm really excited about because he comes across as just being a big baddie, but actually there are layers there, and I'm really looking forward to that. But in the new year, the other big thing I'm doing is I am relaunching my second channel, which is my audio narration channel, The Well Told Tale. I am relaunching that, so new content, and it's also going to be a standalone podcast as well, and I am really excited. So those are the things which are sort of on the horizon for me at the moment.
In Deep Geek, in case
I have no idea why he says it like that. I honestly have no idea.
Brilliant! It's the best ever.
So thank you to everyone in chat and all the generous donations this evening. There was a lot, over 100. So not 100 donations in total, but $100. Thank you so much, guys. That'll be going towards the channel, of course. I try to infuse as much as I can. Kelly Van Roy is showing up at the end of the stream here. But thank you, everyone, for joining so much. Really, really appreciate it. This won't be the last stream we do. I'm going to try to do a little bit more of these. Some of you in chat have floated the idea of me doing some Witcher streams. Tubb said, would you do one for every 4 episodes of The Witcher, meaning I do 2 Witcher streams? Because there's 8 episodes. I can certainly do that. If that's something that you guys would enjoy, and me kind of doing some I'm trying to do Robert doing some I thought about doing that for Mandalorian after the season over is too. Definitely going to be doing some more streams, like I said, mostly edited videos, but yeah, be on the lookout for more content. Like I said, Mandalorian video tomorrow, Witcher stuff, and like I said, Helen, JR, and Gemma send their love. Thanks everyone for joining, and it was really nice to hang out with all of you. I hope all of you have a happy and safe holidays. We will see you again soon.
Final glasses count 6.
I've been love everyone. Thanks for joining.
Bye.